Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and today I'm going to give you some tips and tricks for Persona 3 Reloaded. Don't worry, this is spoiler free, so I'm going to keep stuff as vague as possible while trying to give hints, so maybe read between the lines, and if I start staring intensely into the camera, that's probably means something you should pay attention to. So let's begin with Twilight Fragments. The best place you can find them is by exploring the map, the main hub area. Just look around, you usually find 2 a day. Also, don't forget to talk to Elizabeth, as she may just give you one, or give you one if you reach a certain rank with your social links. Speaking of social links can be hidden behind other social links, as well as requiring certain stats in order to start them. For example, in order to start a social link with each of the C's female members, you need to have a max stat in each section. For example, Yukari requires you to have max charm, Mitsuru requires you to have max academics, and Fuka can Fuka off. Well, that took a lot of courage. Also, you may need to talk to a person a couple of times before you can start the social link, or they may require an item or 2. Having a persona of the same arcana as the social link you're doing will also increase your points you earn from each social interaction, and also you won't always level up each time you interact with said person. You can use the shrine to boost your next social interaction with your social link of your choosing. Just make sure they're the next one you do. Also, each social link have a set days when they appear, and 2 of them can only happen at night, and 3 of the social links you don't have to worry about, they'll just automatically rank up. There are now bonus socials with your party members. These will increase their stats or increase your stats, so definitely give them a go. There are lots of ways to increase your stats. The arcade will rotate games daily. Also, the arcade doesn't always have a stat increase rather than a persona stat increase, but you can always go to the cafe or even a food store, and that will increase either charm, academics, or courage. That will either increase charm, increase courage, or increase academics. If you answer questions correctly when the teacher asks you in the class, that will always increase charm. Staying awake during a lecture will always increase academics. And if you've gone to Tartarus the night before, you can always go to the nurse's office, drink the concoction, and that will always increase courage. Always group study when you can, because that will increase your academics the most and is for free, but that generally only happens near exam times. For Elizabeth's requests, pay attention to deadlines. Do not be afraid to actually start and finish a request on the day of the deadline, because sometimes you might need to group some of them at the same time because they all have a similar deadline. But do Elizabeth dates as soon as possible because they take up no time at all. Akihiko has been waiting for this, so don't waste your Twilight Fragments on 1 fragment chests. I recommend using them on 2 to 3 fragment Twilight chests, mainly the ones after the boss or the mini bosses you find in the dungeon, because they usually contain good armor or weapons. Always all out attack. Even if it doesn't kill the enemy, it has a chance of stunning said enemy. Always exploit a weakness. Now, at the start, most of the enemies are exploited by an elemental weakness, but that doesn't mean they're not exploited by a physical weakness. Also, just because it's immune to one physical weakness doesn't mean the enemy is immune to other physical weaknesses. There's 3 types of physical weakness. There's slash, there is pierce, and there is blunt. Luckily, some of the characters also just basic attacks deal those kind of damage. For example, Yuri and the main character do slash damage. Kari does pierce and Akihiko does blunt, but your personas may have skills that do those types of damage. Also, there is an almighty type of damage, which is basically a non-elemental weakness, but most enemies aren't immune to it, and they don't really have a resistance to it. It's kind of just a blank slate that will just do a good amount of damage to everything. For most enemies. Always be fusing. This is how you get stronger personas. And some personas will also give you items. Very useful items later on, so pay attention. They will have a heart symbol on it. And sometimes they will give you a card once they reach a certain level. Obviously, if you have a higher social link in that arcana, you will get a more EXP arcane boost, and in order to get the strongest persona from that arcana, you need to have maxed out that social link. Don't worry about registering personas, they will automatically be registered as soon as you get one or summon one. But if there's certain skills that you want or a certain level you may want to summon again because you might want to drop multiple of the same item, then of course register the persona. It will just override the previous registered version of that persona. Try to get as far into Tartarus as you possibly can each time you go in, because you want to be spending most of the evenings either ranking up social links or ranking up your stats so you would be able to start more social links. For shuffle time, I would focus on the major arcana first, as they give you permanent buffs throughout your time in that day in Tartarus. Obviously, personas are highest priority if you don't have them already. Then I would focus on either EXP or money, because money is a lot harder to get in this version, and the skill cards aren't really worth it, as you can get them skill cards from just using a persona to a certain level, and early game the skills aren't really that good. You're just not going to use them. And the blue cup is nice if you need the heals, but you should be good, as you will be able to find heals from the crystallized dead shadows anyway. And worst comes to worst, you can use 7 of your Twilight Fragments to fully heal yourself using a clock. This should be done as a last resort, but it will fully heal you and your SP. Finally, save as soon as you can do so. That may mean in the morning or after school, as there's always something you can do during the day, whether it be increase a social link, increase a stat, or even go to Tartarus. But if you do a few days doing nothing, some of them are in-game story events when you're not allowed to do anything, but you're going to have plenty of time later on where you're going to have days where you do absolutely nothing, so don't worry about it too much. Anyways, this has been entirely pointless, but I hope it helps. I totally didn't steal the idea from IGN or other sites like that, okay? Totally didn't. Totally.
Morse. Marvelous. Together on the track. Let's go. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, sus.